NASA just confirmed what they've been denying for months. 3 iAtlas activated braking systems, and that changes everything. For the first time since Atlas entered our solar system, NASA publicly acknowledged detecting powered flight. Not gravitational effects, not solar wind pressure, not outgassing. Actual propulsion systems firing in a controlled deceleration maneuver that reduced Atlas's velocity by over 8,000 km in less than 18 hours. Natural objects don't have brakes. Comets don't slow themselves down. Asteroids don't execute precision velocity adjustments. What NASA just confirmed is that Atlas is artificial, a spacecraft under intelligent control, operating in our solar system right now. The announcement came through official channels with careful wording designed to minimize panic while acknowledging reality. But reading between the lines reveals the truth. NASA detected thrust signatures, measured velocity changes that require enormous energy expenditure, and can no longer maintain the fiction that Atlas is a natural interstellar comet. Before we break down exactly what NASA detected and why this confirms alien technology in our solar system, hit subscribe and drop a like, because humanity just officially entered the post-first contact era. Atlas isn't a mystery anymore. It's a confirmed artificial object, and it just demonstrated capabilities that prove whoever built it is centuries ahead of us technologically. The only question now is, what does it want? Let's examine exactly what NASA observed, because the technical details prove beyond doubt that Atlas used propulsion systems. Multiple tracking stations detected Atlas executing a deceleration maneuver over an 18-hour period. The object's velocity decreased from approximately $132,000 mph to $124,000 mph, a reduction of 8,000 mph. That might not sound dramatic, but consider the physics. Atlas has a minimum estimated mass of several million tons. Changing the velocity of that much mass by 8,000 mph requires truly staggering amounts of energy, roughly equivalent to the total output of a large nuclear power plant running for several days. An aerospace engineer calculated the energy requirements. We're talking about propulsion systems capable of generating thrust in the millions of pounds, force range sustained over 18 hours. That's orders of magnitude beyond our most powerful rocket engines. This isn't just advanced technology. It's technology that makes our best efforts look primitive. But it's not just the energy that proves artificial origin. It's the precision. Atlas didn't randomly slow down. It executed a controlled burn that reduced velocity at a steady calculated rate. The deceleration profile shows constant thrust over the entire 18-hour period, exactly what you'd expect from engines operating under computer control. NASA's tracking data shows the maneuver began at a specific time, maintained consistent deceleration throughout, and ended precisely when target velocity was reached. That's navigation. That's piloting. That's proof of intelligent control. The thermal signatures confirm propulsion as well. During the deceleration, multiple observatories detected heat emissions from Atlas, far exceeding what solar radiation alone could produce. The object was generating internal heat, the signature of engines firing, power systems operating, energy being converted from fuel to thrust. Spectroscopic analysis revealed exotic particle emissions during the maneuver. The same strange signatures detected during previous anomalous behaviors. Muons, unusual ion concentrations, electromagnetic patterns that suggest advanced physics being employed. This wasn't chemical rockets. This was something far more sophisticated. What makes NASA's confirmation so significant is that they've been denying this possibility for months. Every previous anomaly was explained away as natural phenomena we don't fully understand. But this deceleration maneuver was so obvious, so undeniable, so clearly artificial that NASA had no choice but to acknowledge it. A former NASA scientist described the internal debate. There were people inside the agency arguing for transparency from the beginning, but institutional pressure to avoid extraordinary claims kept pushing toward natural explanations. The braking maneuver was the breaking point, the evidence that finally overcame the denial. The braking maneuver reveals crucial information about Atlas's propulsion technology, and what it tells us is both fascinating and deeply concerning. First, the efficiency is remarkable. Atlas changed velocity by 8,000 mph, with minimal visible exhaust or thermal waste. Chemical rockets are incredibly inefficient. Most of their energy output is wasted as heat. Atlas appears to operate with near-perfect efficiency, converting almost all input energy directly into thrust. That suggests either controlled fusion, antimatter reactions, or propulsion principles based on physics we haven't discovered yet. All three options represent technology far beyond current human capabilities. Second, the power-to-weight ratio is extraordinary. To accelerate or decelerate millions of tons of mass at the rate Atlas demonstrated requires power systems that are both incredibly powerful and remarkably compact. The entire propulsion system must fit inside the object, while generating thrust that our largest power plants couldn't match. A propulsion specialist explained the implications. We're looking at power densities that shouldn't be possible with any technology we understand. Either they've mastered energy storage and generation at levels we can't approach, or they're using energy sources we haven't conceived of. Both options are revolutionary. Third, the maneuver proves Atlas has substantial fuel reserves or incredibly efficient fuel use. Crossing interstellar space already required enormous energy expenditure. Now, Atlas has demonstrated it has enough fuel remaining to perform major course corrections within our solar system. That means either they started with fuel loads we can barely imagine, or their fuel efficiency is so superior to ours that crossing light years and still having reserves for maneuvering is routine for them. The type of maneuver also reveals information. Atlas didn't just fire engines randomly. It executed a precision deceleration designed to achieve specific velocity at a specific time. That requires navigation systems that can calculate complex orbital mechanics in real-time propulsion systems, with precise throttle control. Computer systems capable of managing sustained burns over many hours. Sensor systems to confirm velocity changes and adjust thrust accordingly. All of this indicates a highly sophisticated spacecraft, with integrated systems far more advanced than anything humans have built. This isn't a primitive probe barely capable of reaching another star system. This is mature, refined technology from a civilization with extensive spaceflight experience. But perhaps most revealing is what the braking maneuver implies about Atlas's mission objectives. Natural objects follow ballistic trajectories determined by their initial velocity and gravitational influences. They can't choose where they go. Atlas just proved it can choose. It can adjust its course, modify its velocity, navigate deliberately toward specific destinations. The braking maneuver wasn't random. It was purposeful. Atlas is going somewhere specific, and it just made course adjustments to ensure it arrives exactly where and when intended. Now that we know Atlas can maneuver, the critical question becomes, where is it going? And trajectory analysis based on the braking maneuver provides disturbing answers. Before the deceleration, Atlas was on a path that would take it through the inner solar system and back out toward interstellar space. Fast flyby, brief observations, then departure. That was the official NASA projection. The braking maneuver changed that calculation entirely by reducing velocity by 8,000 on a toy pod at precisely calculated timing. Atlas altered its trajectory in ways that suggest it's not planning to leave our solar system anytime soon. An orbital mechanics specialist analyzed the new trajectory. The deceleration modified Atlas's path to extend its time in the inner solar system significantly. Instead of a fast pass lasting weeks, it's now on a trajectory that keeps it in our planetary neighborhood for months. That's the behavior of something that came here to stay, not just visit. The timing of the maneuver is also significant. Atlas executed braking at a specific point in its orbit that maximizes gravitational assists from planetary bodies. By slowing down at that exact location, it positioned itself to use Mars' gravity to further modify its path without expending additional fuel. That's sophisticated navigation, using planetary gravity as free course correction to conserve fuel reserves for later maneuvers. It's exactly what human mission planners do when designing efficient spacecraft trajectories. Atlas is following the same principles, but executing them across interstellar distances with cargo masses we can't begin to move. Current projections suggest Atlas's modified trajectory brings it significantly closer to Earth than originally calculated. What was supposed to be a distant pass might now bring Atlas within a few million miles of our planet. Close enough for detailed observation, close enough for deployment of smaller probes, close enough to matter strategically. A defense analyst described the implications. If Atlas were a surveillance platform, which its behavior suggests it might be, this trajectory modification positions it perfectly for extended observation of Earth. It's not just passing by anymore. It's taking up station for systematic reconnaissance. But Earth might not be the only target. The modified trajectory also provides improved approach angles to several other objects of interest. Mars, certain asteroid belt formations, and possibly the outer planets depending on how much additional fuel Atlas is willing to expend on future maneuvers. The braking maneuver proves Atlas has specific destinations in mind. It's not drifting randomly through our system. It's navigating deliberately toward objectives that required modifying its ballistic trajectory. Whether those objectives include Earth directly or treat us as one observation target among many remains to be seen. NASA's confirmation of artificial propulsion triggered immediate responses from space agencies, militaries, and governments worldwide, and the speed of mobilization reveals how seriously authorities are taking this confirmation. Within hours of NASA's announcement, emergency sessions were convened at the highest levels of multiple governments. The UN Security Council held closed-door meetings. Military command structures activated threat assessment protocols. Intelligence agencies began sharing classified data on Atlas they'd been withholding from public disclosure. Space tracking networks globally shifted priority to Atlas monitoring. Every available telescope, radar system, and sensor capable of observing Atlas was redirected to continuous surveillance. Space agencies aren't just casually watching anymore. They're maintaining 247 tracking with multiple redundant systems. Military space surveillance programs activated as well. The same networks that track ballistic missiles and hostile satellites are now focused on Atlas. They're monitoring for any additional maneuvers, analyzing the object's capabilities, and developing threat assessments for scenarios where Atlas turns hostile. A national security analyst described the military's perspective. The moment NASA confirmed powered flight, Atlas transitioned from scientific curiosity to potential threat. Military planners now treat it as an unknown actor, with superior capabilities operating in strategically significant space that requires defensive posturing regardless of actual intent. International cooperation has increased dramatically. Nations that normally compete in space are now sharing data, coordinating observations, and jointly developing response protocols. The United States, Russia, China, the European Union, all apparently recognizing that at last represents a challenge bigger than geopolitical rivalries. But cooperation has limits. Behind the scenes, nations are also positioning for advantage. If Atlas represents technology that could be studied or recovered, whoever gets access first gains potentially civilization-altering technological advantages. The same nations cooperating on observation are also competing to be first to communicate or make contact. Space agencies are attempting direct communication with Atlas using every method available. Radio transmissions across all frequency bands, laser signals, mathematical broadcasts, even attempts at sending imagery showing human civilization and achievements. So far, Atlas hasn't responded to any communication attempts. It continues executing its mission, whatever that mission is, without acknowledging Earth's attempts at contact. That silence is troubling. Either Atlas can't detect our transmissions, doesn't understand them, or is choosing to ignore them. The public response has been mixed. NASA's announcement was carefully worded to minimize alarm, but the implications are clear to anyone paying attention. We're no longer alone. Confirmed artificial technology is operating in our solar system, and it's under someone else's control. The braking maneuver provides crucial insights into Atlas's intentions and mission parameters. By analyzing how and when it chose to maneuver, we can infer important information about its objectives. First, the maneuver proves Atlas wants to stay in our solar system longer. It deliberately reduced velocity to extend its mission time in our planetary neighborhood. Natural objects have no preference for how long they spend in any particular star system. Atlas clearly does. That extended mission time suggests thorough investigation rather than quick reconnaissance. Atlas is settling in for detailed observation, comprehensive data gathering, possibly even experimental activities that require sustained presence. Second, The fuel expenditure reveals priorities. Using precious fuel reserves, fuel that took enormous energy to accelerate across interstellar space to extend time in our system, indicates that whatever Atlas came to study is important enough to justify major resource expenditure. An astrobiologist analyzing the mission profile suggested, if you've traveled light years to reach a star system, you don't casually decide to spend extra time unless you found something interesting. Atlas's willingness to burn fuel for extended mission duration suggests it detected something worth the cost, possibly us. Third, the timing suggests planning and adaptability. Atlas waited until after perihelion and initial reconnaissance before executing course modifications. That implies it gathered data first, analyzed findings, then made informed decisions about trajectory based on what it discovered. That's intelligent mission planning. Scout first, assess results, then commit resources to follow-up investigation. It's exactly how humans would conduct interstellar reconnaissance, and exactly what we'd hope to avoid being the subject of. Fourth, the precision indicates confidence and experience. Atlas executed a complex maneuver with apparent ease, suggesting this isn't experimental technology being tested. This is mature, proven propulsion being used routinely by a civilization with extensive spaceflight experience. That's simultaneously impressive and concerning. Impressive because it demonstrates technological maturity we haven't achieved. Concerning because it suggests Atlas isn't a desperate, barely functional probe from a civilization, just barely managing interstellar travel. It's a capable, sophisticated craft from a civilization that does this regularly. But perhaps most revealing is what the maneuver doesn't tell us. TL's ultimate intentions toward Earth and humanity. The braking maneuver proves intelligent control and deliberate navigation. It doesn't reveal whether that intelligence views us as fascinating subjects for study, potential trading partners, threats to be assessed, or resources to be exploited. Without communication, we're left inferring intent from behavior. And Atlas's behavior, systematic observation, strategic positioning, refusal to respond to our attempts at contact could be interpreted many ways. Scientific detachment, military reconnaissance, cultural study, resource assessment. We simply don't know. The braking maneuver starkly illustrates the technological gap between human capabilities and whoever built Atlas. And understanding that gap is crucial for assessing our position in whatever comes next. Start with propulsion. Our fastest spacecraft after years of gravity assists and acceleration achieve velocities around 50,000 mph. Atlas was traveling at 132,000 mph and casually shed 8,000. Pretty like it meant nothing. It moves through space at speeds we can barely achieve even with our most advanced technology. And it does so while retaining fuel reserves for major course corrections. The energy density of Atlas's fuel, whatever it is, must be orders of magnitude beyond anything humans have developed. Our best chemical rockets store energy measured in megajoule per kilogram. Atlas's fuel appears to store energy in ranges we'd associate with nuclear reactions or beyond. An energy researcher explained the disparity. If you showed the Wright brothers a modern fighter jet, the technological gap would be enormous, but comprehensible. Both use wings, both use engines, both follow the same aerodynamic principles. The gap between our propulsion and Atlas's appears to be paradigm-level difference. We might be looking at technology based on physical principles we haven't discovered yet. The power systems are equally disparate. Atlas generates enough power to accelerate millions of tons across interstellar distances while maintaining all onboard systems. Our largest power plants stay in one place and generate a fraction of that output. Atlas carries its power generation system with it and operates that system continuously for what might be decades or centuries. The navigation and control systems represent similar gaps. Atlas calculated and executed a precision deceleration maneuver across 18 hours, adjusting for gravitational influences, maintaining perfect burn consistency, and achieving target velocity with apparent ease. Our best autonomous spacecraft require constant Earth-based monitoring and guidance. Atlas is doing it all on its own, light minutes away, where real-time control from its origin would be impossible. But perhaps the most significant gap is in mission endurance. Atlas crossed interstellar space, a journey that would take our fastest spacecraft tens of thousands of years, and arrived with enough operational capability to conduct complex maneuvers and extended reconnaissance. That implies either relativistic speeds we can't achieve, suspended animation technology we don't possess, or artificial intelligence capable of autonomous operation across timescales that dwarf human lifetimes. Any one of these technological gaps would be revolutionary. Together, they paint a picture of a civilization so far ahead of us that direct comparison becomes almost meaningless. It's not that they're a little more advanced. They're operating on completely different technological paradigms. Technology historian put it in perspective. Imagine showing a smartphone to someone from medieval times. They wouldn't just be impressed. They'd struggle to conceptualize what it is or how it works. They'd lack the entire framework of knowledge needed to understand it. We might be in a similar position with Atlas. We can observe what it does, but truly understanding how it works might require scientific knowledge we don't yet possess. That gap has profound implications in any interaction between civilizations with massive technological disparities. The advanced civilization holds essentially all the power. We can't force communication. We can't compel cooperation. We can't defend ourselves if they're hostile. We can't even observe them effectively if they choose to hide their capabilities. Now that NASA has confirmed Atlas is artificial, we enter a new phase of uncertainty. The mystery of is it natural or artificial has been answered. The new mystery is what does it want and what happens next. Based on Atlas's modified trajectory, it will reach its closest approach to Earth within the next several weeks. That proximity window represents a critical period, optimal time for detailed observation from Atlas's perspective, and our best opportunity for potential communication or further analysis. Space agencies are preparing for multiple scenarios. Scenario 1, continued silence. Atlas maintains current behavior, observing but not communicating. It completes whatever mission it came to accomplish, and eventually leaves our solar system without ever directly interacting with humanity. We confirm alien intelligence exists, but gain no direct knowledge or contact. This scenario is frustrating, but relatively safe. We learn we're not alone, but we don't face the upheaval of direct contact with superior intelligence. Life continues mostly as before, just with profound knowledge that we're being watched by someone from another star. Scenario 2, communication initiation. Atlas responds to Earth's transmission attempts, or initiates its own communication. First contact becomes real dialogue rather than one-sided observation. We begin exchanging information, attempting to understand each other's languages and intentions. This scenario is transformative. Even basic communication with alien intelligence would revolutionize human understanding of our place in the universe. But it's also risky. We'd be engaging with an intelligence that might have very different ethics, priorities, and objectives than we assume. Scenario 3, deployment phase. Atlas releases smaller probes toward Earth or other destinations in our solar system. We observe it conducting. All of this raises the ultimate question. What did they want? Why did a civilization with the capability to cross interstellar space choose to visit our solar system? What attracted their attention? What are they studying, assessing, or searching for? We can't answer those questions yet. Atlas maintains its silence despite our communication attempts. It continues its mission, whatever that mission is, without explaining itself to us. We're left observing and speculating, while an alien intelligence operates in our cosmic neighborhood. Philosophers specializing in first contact scenarios offered perspective. Humanity is now in the position of indigenous peoples watching European ships appear on their horizons, aware that something foreign and powerful has arrived, uncertain of intentions, hoping for the best, while recognizing the profound asymmetry in capabilities. How that story unfolds depends entirely on the ethics and objectives of whoever sent ATLA. The braking maneuver confirmed alien intelligence. It proved technological superiority, and it demonstrated that whoever sent Atlas has purposes in our solar system important enough to justify major fuel expenditure and extended mission duration. In the coming weeks, as Atlas reaches its closest approach to Earth, we'll learn whether those purposes include us, and whether that's good news or very bad news. What do you think Atlas's braking maneuver really means? Is this peaceful exploration or reconnaissance before something larger? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure you're subscribed. because as Atlas approaches Earth over the next few weeks, the mystery of what happens next is just beginning.